Christopher Nolan is one of my personal favorite directors of all time. I think he has an incredible filmography. So I decided, with the Odyssey coming out, or already came out, I would rewatch or watch for the first time all of his movies. And I'm gonna tell you, it was a great time. And I like to preface, these are full-length features, so no following. The following is not a full-length feature, it's only 60 minutes. I believe to be a full-length feature, you need to be at least 80 minutes. Could be wrong, but I didn't care to watch the following. And if I would, from what I've heard, it would be either last or second to last. So, not really changing much. Anyways, by the way, if you see any films that you think are too low, yeah, they could be. Because honestly, his filmography is so incredible that like half of his movies I think are arguably the best of his career. So yeah, let me just start off with our number 12 spot. The one and only Tenet. Okay, this is the one that I watched for the first time. These are one of the ones I watched for the first time. Yes, I know that Tenet is a movie that is supposed to be watched again and again and again till you finally get the full picture. But here's the thing, I don't really like that idea. I'm fine with a movie being confusing, but then the ending making it all up, that's fine. Because the ending brought it all together, right? But I'm not the biggest fan of a movie that is confusing till the end, but then it's still confusing to the point where you have to rewatch it to fully understand it. I don't get that, which, yes. Listen, maybe because I'm not watching enough movies, but there are very few times where I'm just generally dumbfounded and confused about a movie. This is one of them. I don't know. Like, I kid you not. I watched this movie. I was like, okay, I think I missed a few steps. I watched the new Rockstar's movie breakdown. One of the first times I ever just go watch a movie explain video after watching a movie. I don't do that, like, ever. I watched it for this, and I was like, I probably just missed a few details. No, I think I missed the entire movie. Was I supposed to know that Neil is most likely Kat's daughter? I also missed some things about how they all died, I guess. And how, there's just a lot of things I missed. I'm just like, looking at the timeline, I'm like, what the hell did I watch? I feel like I just heard about a whole different movie than what I just watched. Which is a problem. In my opinion, the movie is so confusing. So, like, Memento, like, I feel like he tried to step it up. You know how Memento goes backwards in its progression. The first scene is actually the last scene, and the last scene is actually the first scene. Right? Well, here's the thing. I love that in Memento. But the reason why is that it's so clear. Every scene in Memento, it makes sense because the ending of the scene you're in right now is the start of the previous scene. That's what makes it very coherent and watchable. So, yeah, that's what makes it really good. Tenet doesn't do that. Tenet is just like, hey, not only are we going backwards, we're also going forwards at the same time, and no, we won't explain. Like, literally, there's a line at the start of the movie where it's like, don't question it too much, don't think about it too hard, it'll just confuse you. That's not the exact line, but there is a line like that. Also, the characters are really bland. The villain kind of sucks. I mean, I guess Robert Pattinson's character, Neil, was fine. Kat was fine. Another underwritten female Nolan character. The protagonist, I think that's all I need to say. His name is literally Protagonist. Do I need to explain more about why he's not a good character? Or not even just not a good character, he's not that much of a character. He's just a guy. He's just a dude, and he does nothing. Like, he's such a bland personality. I mean, John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and I forgot who played Kat. They all did a great job. Like, no one did a bad job, but, like, no one did a good job. Actually, no, they did a good... No one, like... They did their best with the bad character work they got. Yeah, honestly, it's just such a weird, confusing movie. Again, I know I'm probably going to like this a lot more when I rewatch it, because I'm actually going to understand the concept, but I don't like the idea that I have to rewatch a movie for it to be good. And, like, I feel like, it's not even like, oh, I didn't like it on the first watch, but then rewatch it, I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. No, it's a movie where you watch it, and you are it's almost a necessity. Like, there are some movies in Christopher Nolan's career, back to Memento, I guess, like, Prestige. Those movies are, like, the ending is so crazy, and you're like, oh my god, I have to rewatch this. Tenet is not like that. Tenet is, I kinda just now got the plot of the movie. Now I'll go rewatch it. That's Tenet compared to other ones where it's just, oh, if I rewatch it now, it's gonna be a lot better because of how the ending reshaped everything. Well, Tenet is not that. Also, the twists in Tenet really didn't get me that well. I was like, I don't care. John David Washington's character created the Tenet organization. Okay, and recruited Neil, and Neil is, I guess, the kid. And also, like, Kat was the woman to jump off the boat. Who else would it be? Generally, like, who else would it be? Like, that one, there's, like, 2 women in this movie. Who else would that be? It's like a blonde woman, like, oh no, a blonde woman jumped off a boat. I wonder who that is. Like, yeah. I have 2 very big positives for Tenet, though. It's a gorgeous movie. Its cinematography is so good. I mean, Nolan has kind of been cooking on cinematography since, like, Dunkirk. Like, the Odyssey, Dunkirk, Tenet, maybe Oppenheimer, and also Interstellar are all gorgeous movies. Actually, I don't know why I didn't include Interstellar in the gorgeous cinematography. It looks beautiful. Next thing is about it that I really like is the action. It's really well done. Generally, some of the practical effects with the action here is just incredible. Like, how it's done all practically. And the choreography is really, really good. Definitely a step up from something like the Dark Knight trilogy, where there was some rough action in there. I don't know if, like, it's better than, like, I don't know, like, the Inception hallway fight, but it's really good. The action in this film is incredible. No one's taking that away. The action and visuals is definitely the best part of the film. And I think I will like this film the more and more I rewatch it. Like, I saw someone call it the most rewatchable film of all time. I would like to rephrase that. It's the film that you need to rewatch the most times. Yeah, I feel like this movie needs, like, 6 rewatches for me to be like, I get it now. I've seen some people call it a masterpiece, and I'm like, that's a bit much. I can see a great story in there, I just don't fully comprehend it. Anyways, I'm gonna give it, like, a 6.4 out of 10, which means, borderline bad, in my opinion. I know I have an odd rating system, but, yeah. Anyways, on to number 11. At the number 11 spot, we have kind of the opposite of Tenet in Insomnia. So while Tenet may be Christopher Nolan's most, like, complicated, or not even complicated, just confusing, like, weirdest plot, like, the most Nolan-y plot you can imagine, right? Insomnia is quite the opposite, because it's not a Nolan plot. Not only is it the only film not written by Nolan, but it's also an adaptation of, I believe, a Norwegian film from 1997. And I'll say, I like it. It's good. I think it's a good movie. A bit boring. I'll say, like, other than the last 20 minutes and the first 30, I was kind of just really bored. The idea of insomnia, I don't think it's really used that well. Maybe I need to. This is one I also may need to rewatch. This was the first time watch for me. He goes, like, the fact that insomnia is driving him crazy is really only in, like, the last 20 minutes where he's, like, steering off the road and he can barely concentrate. Like, I feel like that's when the insomnia comes in, and I don't get much of that prior to then. Although I did like the plot of the movie. It's like this detective is trying to investigate murder, but his murder gets a murder that he caused accidentally gets wrapped up in it. So he has to defend this murderer, and then by the end, he's like, no, I'm not gonna do this anymore, and then he goes after murderer, yada, yada. I like, the characters are fine. Finch, Ellie, and I think his name's Will are all good. Do I need to tell you how Al Pacino does a good job? It's Al Pacino. He does an incredible job. Of course he would. But, like, yeah, honestly, I went on Letterboxd, and I was very shocked that the top comment was, for this movie being called Insomnia, I had a hard time not falling asleep. I was shocked that wasn't the number one thing, because it's not the most boring Nolan film. The cinematography is like just a bit of a step up above Memento. It's nothing great. I mean, there's some good shots in there, but it's nothing beautiful or anything. It's not like any other... It's not like the other Nolan films where they all look pretty darn good. Another thing that I found is that I don't think that there's... like, it's a good concept, don't get me wrong. I think it's good. It's definitely his worst concept. This is definitely his, like, worst idea of a film. Like, you may think the Batman films may be a bit more generic, because of how, like, superhero movies have been done so many times that they've become more generic. But honestly, I still think Insomnia is just overly boring. It's definitely Nolan's sauceless film, so I don't have much to talk about. The characters are fine, cinematography's fine, plot's solid. The first last 20 to 30 minutes are pretty good. Everything in between, which is like an hour, is just okay. It's pretty boring. Anyways, I think it's like a 7 out of 10, 7.1 out of 10. And, well, next up is our number 10. At number 10, we have The Dark Knight Rises. This one may be a hot take, because that's an 8.4 on IMDb. And it's above Begins. I'm like, what are we doing? It's not a bad movie, don't get me wrong. It's good. I like it. But it's definitely, like, even more than Tenet, is maybe Christopher Nolan's most plot-holy film. And yeah, I'll talk about the plot holes. I'll actually just talk about the negatives in general. First off, oh my god, those plot holes. First off, I just said first off like 3 times in a row. Anyways, so Bane breaks Batman's back, essentially. But he's good in climbing the pit in 3 months. What? I don't think that's how that works. I don't think you can just do that. It's like, they don't even give, like, some magical explanation that, like, oh, the pits, or this is Lazarus pit water that I'm going to sprinkle on you to heal you. They don't even do that. They're just like, you're better now. You can climb the pit. Like, the pit sequences were good. I just couldn't overlook the fact that, dude, your back was broken 3 months ago. How are you walking? How are you walking? How are you doing this? How are you walking without any PT, any medicine, no resting? You're working out in this time period too? And then you do the pit thing? Like, what? Also, how did Bruce enter the city? The city's on lockdown, but we don't even get to see how he comes in? I thought, like, wouldn't that be a big plot point of how to re-enter Gotham City after it's in total lockdown? Why is that not a plot point? Also, Harvey Dent, not plot hole, but they bring up, like, basic, oh, Harvey Dent. Also, we're talking about Bane. I'm gonna do a bit Bane. It's like, Harvey Dent is not good. He is a bad person. You know, he's like that. Then we don't really see the repercussions of that. I mean, you're talking about how this is kind of messed up, that hundreds of criminals were put away due to Harvey Dent. Although I did see a dumb critique by Schaeferless, I'm sorry, that, I like Schaeferless, but I think this is a dumb critique, that, oh, how is all crime stopped because one DA? And it's like, because of the precedent they set, I mean, the whole point of Harvey Dent is this idea of inspiration to the city, and we already saw how inspiring he was to the city. And it's also just what they set up. It's like, yeah, maybe in the real world, like, let's say the New York City DA dies. I don't think all crime in New York's gonna stop. But it's what the film gave us based off what we have seen, based on Harvey Dent's character and how Gotham views him. So I don't think it's that big of an issue. But I do think they could have went a bit more in on the fact that Harvey Dent became a murderer. Also, every single police officer goes into the clear and obvious trap. Are we serious right now? What are we doing? Every one of you couldn't have just done like one squad. Every single officer. We see that's a lot of officers. Every single one. Then there's also other problems. First off, Talia al Ghul. I'll talk about Bane first. Bane is not my favorite villain. I think he's probably the worst of the trilogy, between, like, Two-Face, Joker, Ra's al Ghul, and maybe even Scarecrow. While I can respect Tom Hardy's performance, and I do like the threat he gives, until Talia al Ghul was just like, oh no, I'm the villain, even though I've barely shown up in the movie. But yeah, obviously I didn't really like Bane's voice. I know people were like, and he had some good lines like you merely adopted the dog. Well, I was born in it, forged by it, or no, molded by it. And then when I saw the light, I was already a man, and it was blinding. You know, like that. I thought it was good. I liked it. He has some great quotes. He has some great moments. Like him breaking Bruce's back was a great scene. There's a lot of good scenes in the movie with Bane. I like Bane. I don't like his voice. Oh my god, it can sound so good. His speech with Harvey Dent, I already made fun of it. He was like, it sounds so bad. I'm sorry, it sounds so bad. Oh, he's just so awful with the voice. It's honestly, hot take. I think it's worse than the Bat voice. Well, actually, that's a strict one. Christian Bale doesn't have a good Bat voice either. But like, oh my god, I'm sorry, Bane. I heard him. I was like, yeah, he's so goofy. Well, I do like the first like 40, 50 minutes of the movie, or at least like I do like a lot of the movie. I think it's great. I think it's a pretty good movie. But there's definitely a lot of flaws. Again, back on Talia al Ghul. Disney 2010s twist villain character. Honestly, I would have completely forgot who she was in the movie if I didn't already know that she was Talia al Ghul. Although I didn't even think that she was gonna be a villain. I just thought it was gonna be like, oh, I'm Talia al Ghul. And it's like, okay, I don't care. But like, no, she's so, and her death scene is like, the city. It's like, what the, like, even the actress herself was like, yeah, that was the worst take. I have no clue why they picked that. When the actors themselves are like, yeah, or herself is like, yeah, that wasn't the best take. You know she did a bad job. Generally, that was such an odd scene. And also, I don't get, how did Bruce survive the nuke? How? But overall, I'm just not complaining. I do like the film. I think it's good. I really like the scale. I think it's a good-looking film. Like I said, those first 40 minutes are pretty great. I think there's a lot of great moments in the movie. The epilogue was really good. Although I was like, Catwoman, while I did like her, I didn't really get her relationship with Bruce. I kind of got, like, no chemistry out of the two. And yeah. Overall, I think this is clearly the worst of Dark Knight trilogy. And if Rises was better, that is, I think this is probably a movie of why Dark Knight Rises is not in my, like, greatest, like, in the conversation for greatest trilogy ever, because I don't really like Rises as much as the other two. But it's a good movie, like a 7.5, 7.6 out of 10. Anyways, let's go on to our number 9. At number 9, we have Dunkirk. This is going to be a short one, because I don't have much to say about it. It's a good movie, just nothing much. I do like the idea of the battle, looking at the Battle of Dunkirk from the perspective of land, air, and sea. I think that's really cool. I don't think it's done all that well. But yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about what the little issue with I have is that each one specializes in one thing, then kind of sucks out all the other ones. The sea has, in my opinion, the best characters. Cillian Murphy's character, George, and the dad and son. They're all fine. They're all pretty good. And the air specializes in the action scenes. I thought it had some great action. And the land, I guess, had the best plot. Yeah, it had the best plot. There's some great moments with each one of them. I'm not denying that. But overall, they were all fine. Because the air was definitely my least favorite. Because I don't think the plot was that good. And I didn't care for any of the characters. The sea had a fine plot. But no action. And then the land had no... Let me think about what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, the land had best action. Had best plot, second best action, tied for worst characters. Yeah, I didn't really... Yeah, that's definitely a big problem. None of these characters I care about. George is, the only character who I remember his name, and I saw this movie a week ago. Maybe I'm just... These were all so forgettable characters, and yeah. Overall, I was... Actually, the opening scene was really great. Next thing I guess I can say is the actors did a good job. And the cinematography is gorgeous. Oh my god. The cinematography and sound design. I mean, I saw Paul Rudd. Oddly enough, I saw Paul Rudd bring up how this was the only movie that he walked out of and was like, damn, this has great sound design. And I agree, this movie has brilliant sound design. I hope it won an Oscar for that. Overall, it's a good movie, like a 7.7. I really don't have much to say about it. I mean, it could have been more interesting, looking at, a pretty interesting battle where civilians went to help people in World War II. I think that could have been done better. Overall, good movie, not a great one. At my number 8 spot, we have Batman Begins. And for most, I know a lot of people are saying, Batman Begins this low. Yeah, honestly, I'm shocked too. Because I think this movie's pretty fantastic. I mean, 8th spot and you're already at a fantastic movie. That's better than almost every director ever. Especially with how little films Nolan had. I mean, 12 films is, or 13 films is a lot. But, like, to have 8 above a 9, like, all of them are above a 9 from here. And you'll see quickly it becomes all above 10. Anyways, Batman Begins, I think it's definitely the most overshadowed of all the Batman trilogy. Because Rises, everyone talks about the plot holes and how bad it is. And then Dark Knight, everyone talks about how brilliant it is. So Batman Begins is just there for, it's a fantastic movie, but no one talks about it. The Balconies, I'm pretty sure they're called. My bad. Balconies, Ra's al Ghul, Cillian Murphy, they're all good villains. I really like the speech where the Balconies talking to Bruce, where he's like, you're the king of Gotham. You have to go 1,000 miles before someone doesn't know your name. I thought it was pretty good. Again, there's a lot of great moments in the movie. There was one really bad one, though. The Batman being like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just not gonna save you. Yeah, dude, that's not much better. When you have the ability to save someone from dying, but choosing not to, is just as bad as murdering someone. Like, for example, in the trolley problem, this is why I say always kill the one person instead of the 5 people. Although, don't bring up the surgeon one where would you kill one person to put the organs in all other 5. Besides one, this is why you always go and kill the one person. Because, yes, sure, you are taking the action to kill that one person, but if you don't stop the cart, then you are purposefully killing 5 people. You're letting 5 people die, which is just as bad as killing someone. Letting someone die is just as bad as killing someone. Spoilers for Breaking Bad, real quick. That's why people flame Walter about letting Jane die, because it's almost as, or letting her choke on her throw up when she was ODing, because it's almost as bad as him essentially killing herself. Whoa. Killing her himself. That's what I meant. I was like, I don't know what I was saying there. But, like, it's almost as bad because you're just letting them die when you could have easily saved them. Overall, I did like the first hour. Took an hour to see Batman. I think it was worth it, seeing the flashbacks and leading up to Batman. Christian Bale's great Bruce Wayne. Not great Batman, but he's a great Bruce Wayne. I like the ending. Overall, honestly, I just don't have enough to talk about it, because it just feels like it gets overshadowed by the other 2 films, where I'm just left here being like, dang, what's left to talk about, But overall, I do really like this movie. I'm probably going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. I like everything about Bruce, and all of it. And here's my top 7. And before I say my top 7, get to my 7th place, I know that every single one of the top 7 is someone's number 1. I know people, again, this is why I'm like, I think Christopher Nolan's one of the greatest directors of all time. Because, his entire top 7, they're all 10 out of 10s. They're all 10 out of 10 for me. But I've seen people give a good argument that the entire top 7 is their number 1 Christopher Nolan film. And I'm like, you know what? Respectable. That's generally how good Christopher Nolan is. But, anyways, on to the number. Now, for a number 7 spot, it's a tough one. It really is, but I'm gonna put the Prestige here. Okay, so I'm gonna explain why the Prestige isn't higher, because I know people have the Prestige as their number 1. People think it's the best Nolan film, or one of the best films of all time. And yeah, I mean, isn't my top, 25 films of all time? Probably, and that just does, at least for me, show that Nolan is such an incredible director. But, really, I don't think the Prestige can get higher for one reason. The first act, while still good, if anything, great. Like, it's an act of, like, I'd say, like, a 8.5 out of 10 movie, first act, you know? And that's really good. An 8.5 is a great score for a movie. But, I would say that it's definitely less, like, this is by far, for me at least, or not by far, but it's definitely the worst first act compared to all the other movies on this list. Although every other movie on this list doesn't have David Bowie as Nikola Tesla, so who's to say? Anyways, yeah, the second act I think is even better. I think it's a fantastic second act, and then the last act is a masterpiece. It is a masterfully done. The twist, I really love how it's set up like it's a actual magic trick. The first act being the setup, the second act being the trick itself, or like the action of the trick, you know, of the disappearing man or transporting man, I think it's called. And then the third act being the reveal. And oh my god, that reveal. I think it's right there with like Memento. I was like, I think it's right there with Memento being like an incredible reveal that makes you just want to rewatch the film. And to be fair, this is another one that I watched on first time. I have not yet rewatched it, and I have not seen the new context that rewatch gives, but it's still really good. I really like how it plays with this nonlinear story of we see Cutter, Michael Caine's character, and we also see Alfred himself in prison. We also see we see Cutter talking with this judge sort of folk, and then we see Alfred in prison, and then which takes place after the events of the movie. And yeah, honestly, I love this revenge story between Robert and Alfred. Did I say Alfred? Alfred, yeah. They just lose everything. I mean, both of them lose their wife. They lose... I mean, Alfred technically gets the happy ending because he gets to be with it, or one of the Alfreds, because they're twins. Like, I love how the ending of this film just reveals that these two people have, in this just quest of revenge, this petty revenge trip, they've just become horrible people. Robert kills himself, basically, every single time he does this trick, while Alfred just sucks. Alfred let his wife die. Alfred let his own twin brother die. Alfred kind of sucks. Both of them kind of suck due to this petty revenge trip that ruined their lives. It ruined everyone around them. It ruined all their lives. Anyways, yeah, I truly love the ending of this film. The ending of this film is definitely what pushed it for me to be a 10 out of 10 perfect movie. And I definitely see on a rewatch it going higher on my list. But currently, I don't think so. But it really is an incredible movie. I definitely think it's one of his most underrated films. This and honestly probably Memento, because they are so old. I mean, 2 decades is pretty old. But, you know, because they're 2 decades old and it wasn't at a time where he was so popular, they're not well known. Although I do think some people overrate them, as you'll see with Memento. I don't think it's the best movie. But yeah, this is truly a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. And let's move to our 6th spot. Okay, at number 6, we have Memento. I told you Memento wouldn't be that long. I know. I also need to rewatch Memento, because this was my first time watching Memento. Oh, God, was it so good. I mean, I really love, even without the twist at the end, I really love how it's done. This idea of this dude who has short-term memory loss, so he keeps on forgetting the scenes. Like, that could be interesting from a linear perspective, just seeing this guy keep on forgetting what happens to him as we see him progress, you know? I think that could have been interesting, but I love the idea of it going backwards, of how we actually start the film with the end. We know how it ends, the whole movie, in the first few scenes. We know where every character goes, we know what action happened. We just need to unravel and figure out the context to why. And it's so incredibly done. And it's also, unlike Tenet, as I said before, it's not confusing, because it keeps you up with every scene. It has a clear timeline of one scene's over, or the end of one scene is the start of the previous one you saw. I thought it was very clear, and yeah, I really loved how it was done. I'll say this is probably Nolan's technically least impressive film, like in how it's like shot, the direction. I mean, I didn't really note the score all that much. I will say Guy Pearce did a really great job as Leonard, and I like Carrie-Anne Moss as Natalie, and I don't know who plays Teddy, but he did a good job. So yeah, they all did a great job. And yeah, for it having only basically 3 characters, they are all really good. Natalie, I really liked her as a character. Teddy was a good antagonist, and Leonard was a great protagonist. And like, you know, some of the other characters we meet, like Dodd, like that hotel security dude, all those characters are pretty enjoyable to watch. I would say there's so many incredible scenes in this film. One that I feel like goes underrated is when Natalie is telling Leonard and everything bad about him and insulting his wife. I mean, like, you won't remember this in 1 minute, and you don't have your Polaroid photos to write down your message on, so you're just gonna forget this, and then you're still gonna love me. I thought it was such an incredible scene, just showing how sort of weak-ish Leonard is in this scenario, because he can't do anything. He can't do anything other than take it, I guess. But yeah, and then when he slaps her, which then goes into the next scene of then Natalie saying that Dodd hit her. I think it was Dodd. It could have been her boyfriend. I don't know. I may have forgotten. My bad. But yeah, I'll talk about one negative is that I thought there were like a few scenes in the middle that were a bit disconnected. I can't exactly remember why, but I do remember them feeling a bit disconnected. But it still worked well. Let's talk about twists. Okay, so one reveal is that Teddy has basically been a corrupt cop, sending Leonard on trips to kill these John G's, who were the people who murdered his wife. He basically been saying to him, being like, hey, John G, that's your John G. In reality, he's just trying to get money for himself by taking out crime people. People who, why did I say crime people? People who've committed crimes. And then the second reveal is that John G died a year ago, and that Leonard has been on a useless fetch quest given by Teddy to give him purpose in life. Then the third reveal is that, John G never killed your wife, Leonard. You did. You just forgot. And there's this, dang it, I think it was called Sammy Jenkins? Pretty sure that was his name. There's been this character that we've been hearing about. And he has a tattoo on himself called Remember Sammy Jenkins. And we hear about his story of him basically having his condition in his head that he can't remember things. And his wife eventually believing that he's kind of faking it. So his wife asked him, can you give me the medicine? He's like, sure. 5 minutes later, she says, can you give me the medicine? Sure. 5 minutes later, can you give me the medicine? And he does it again, and then she just overdoses and dies. Well, it turns out there is no Sammy Jenkins, and that's just Leonard. Yeah, honestly, that's such a great scene. Just figuring that out, hearing it, and spoke that Leonard killed his wife. And then the last, reveal. The last reveal was just that Leonard, this whole movie has just been Leonard faking his way. He wrote, do not trust his lies for Teddy, just to give himself another version of life's purpose. Because I think it goes over this idea of purpose really well, of Leonard just wants purpose in his life, and he's doing this by hunting after these John G's, and once he realizes that John G's dead, he's going to go after Teddy, and then presumably, he's going to do something else to find more purpose in his life. I really love that ending. I do definitely need to rewatch this movie. It was so incredible. That ending was so perfect. Well, I do like the prestigious twist and final act a bit more. I think Memento is a bit more, good throughout the whole thing. More consistently good. So, anyways, it's my number 6 spot. I know a lot of people have it higher, but that just, again, shows how good Christopher Nolan is as a director. Anyways, off for number 5 is... I'm split. Yeah, I'm gonna admit, I'm kind of split between 2. They're both his newest ones. Or is it? I'm gonna put 5 being the Odyssey. Actually, it's really close. Honestly, I'm really, really close between 5 and 4. First one, but the Odyssey's incredible. I'm gonna keep this one really short because I made a review about the Odyssey, although I did just rewatch it. already, I know. It's such an incredible movie. There's so many details I missed about, like, people remembering Odysseus and some things that happened in the story, and it was so incredible. The whole thing with Troy and how us at the end of the film seeing the story of massacre of Troy, incredible. Oh my god, the acting performances in film, I made sure about this, with Robert Pattinson, John Leguizamo, Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, John Bernthal. I really like Tom Holland. I know he's not like the best actor in the cast. Out of the 6 I mentioned, he's the worst, but he's still pretty good. Overall, actors were great. Characters were all great. This is, like, Penelope is probably Christopher Nolan's best written female character. And it really worked. I really like Penelope. Especially the scene where she's yelling at Telemachus. Like, I want Odysseus. That I've been on an empty throne for 20 years. It was all really great. I really liked it. Honestly, Anne Hathaway should probably win the Oscar for that. I loved her in this role. Anne Hathaway's great. Penelope. There's so many neat details, like, about this movie and overall. Like, there are some changes I don't exactly like. The nobody scene is the number one. Why did you remove it? I'm still mad. I don't get why. We would only help the movie, in my opinion. I guess it makes the Cyclops smarter, but yeah. There's been a lot of dumb controversy around this film, and around the castings, and like, if you want to say, oh, it's not dumb, oh, cast an all-Greek cast for this, and I was like, I didn't hear anyone complaining when Oppenheimer wasn't a Jewish guy and was just an Irish dude. I wasn't hearing any complaints about that. I wasn't hearing anybody yelling and screaming about Schindler's List not casting German actors. I wasn't hearing anyone cry about Black Panther not casting people who were born in Africa, and instead of having a bunch of Americans fake an African accent, or the area of Africa's accent, the area that it's in. I know Africa doesn't have just one accent, okay? I'm sorry. That was a bad use of words. But overall, I don't really care. And if you do say, quick thing, if you do complain about the casting with the Greek, and that, I get most people who do that, actually, I'm not gonna say most people, some people who do that are Greek. And I get that if you complain about this, but just hold your standard to other movies, and if you do, okay, that's fair. I think that's a little bit dumb, but that's my personal belief. I'm just saying, if you do this, hold it to every film ever. Anyways, yeah, it's such an incredible film. This is gorgeous. The movie's gorgeous. Behind Interstellar, only because of the space visuals, this is his best looking film. I think a bit above Dunkirk, but oh my god, this movie is so good looking. It looks so good. Anyways, if you have time to see this movie, it's like 3 hours, I know it's long, watch it in theaters. You will not regret it. It is an incredible movie. It's like when I hear some people say it's a culmination of all of Nolan's work, I can see that. I don't think it's his best movie, definitely not, but it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, just saying, watch it. It's incredible. If you can watch it in IMAX, watch it in IMAX. It's an experience. Oh my, watch this movie, or watch my review. Watch my review and the movie. Anyways, it's so close to my number 4 spot. Again, all my top 7's a 10 out of 10. I want to say that. All my top 7's a 10 out of 10. So I do believe this movie is a 10 out of 10. But I do believe that number 4 is better. And at number 4, we have Oppenheimer. I just watched Oppenheimer again for this, and I don't know how to feel. It's so close to the Odyssey, in my opinion. One thing that definitely pushes it is that Oppenheimer himself, maybe one of, if not my favorite character in any Nolan film. That could also be that I think, hands down, Cillian Murphy is giving the best performance in any Nolan film ever. The only competition he really has is Heath Ledger's Joker. And it's so close between the two and who gives a better performance, but they're both incredible. It's such an incredible performance given by both of them that, like, I can't say who's better. They're so incredible. But Cillian Murphy, I was blown away by his performance. I also really like the idea of, like, this theme of consequence and, like, of technology and consequence in this movie. And it's oh my god, that final, like, 30 minutes was just, I ascended. Was Strauss giving his idea of Oppenheimer as we, and, like, how he wanted to do it to be famous and all that. And how, and now he was the one trying to get rid of Oppenheimer's, like, security access, and then we also see that, and then that whole thing go down throughout the entire movie between the two of them, with everything Strauss and him becoming a board member, and also Oppenheimer being an accused communist. I really love and also how we see that in the movie. I really liked it. And yeah, as much as I just praise Cillian Murphy, probably the best performance of the decade in my opinion. RDJ as Strauss, not far behind. I mean, oh my god, he did an incredible job. Oscar was very much so deserved. Emily Blunt, she did not win an Oscar. I'm almost positive she did not win an Oscar. She did a great job. Florence Pugh, she did a great job. Matt Damon, he did a great job. All of them are I really loved all of the characters. They're all great. Actually, yeah, I did like Jean and Kitty. I thought they're some pretty well-written characters, if you ask me. And overall, I loved. Oh my god, that ending, I'm just like, can't I get over it. And also, the idea of how impressive this is. Like, Christopher Nolan made a 3-hour movie of people just sitting and talking. And it's one of the most engaging films I've seen in a while. It's so, like, it locks you to the screen. It's so impressive with that idea. Also, Trinity Test is, I heard some say it's underwhelming. How? It was such a good scene. Yeah, honestly, Oppenheimer is peak. Actually, out of the top 7, especially in the last year or so, I've not seen people say Oppenheimer is their number 1. I think that's the only one here that I've not seen people say is their number 1. I've seen people nowadays say, Odyssey may be the best. I've seen people say Prestige, Memento, Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight. Not Oppenheimer. But honestly, Oppenheimer is such an incredible movie. I love it. It's so close between this and the Odyssey. But I think I give Oppenheimer just the slightest edge. Probably because I do think the Oppenheimer is a slightly better cast. Also, I forgot to mention this. The Odyssey, that score is heavenly. Oh my god. They literally, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. Didn't they invented instruments, right? Or, no, they brought back, they used instruments of the time that were lost, and they had to reinvent them. Like, that's so impressive. And Oppenheimer has an incredible score as well. Ludwig van Goranson, I believe is his name. You are great. I love you, man. You're great. You're great at making scores for movies. That's your whole job. It was Oppenheimer, Preak, 10 out of 10. Strict on the term masterpiece. It's a near one. Not quite, though. And anyways, now we're in the big top 3. And this one, I don't know, but it may be controversial. And at number 3, this may come as shock because I'm a big comic book guy. That's The Dark Knight. I don't know. I really... Alright, it was my number 2. It really was. But then something overtook it. Just thinking about it more. And yeah, Dark Knight is so peak. It's so peak. I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker's tied for my greatest comic book villain of all time. Tied? What do you mean tied? Yes, tied. I said it. He tied with Thanos and Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. First of all, and if you yell at me for Thanos, I'm sorry. Thanos is an all-timer great villain. I'm not, people used to, and after Infinity Wars came out, people did call him a modern-day Darth Vader. Just saying. Anyways, and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is one of the greatest villains in television history. Search it up. He will oftentimes be up there. Talking Heath Ledger's Joker is just so incredible. And actually, I had 3 categories where all of them excelled at. Vincent D'Onofrio, I think, is the best written. Heath Ledger's Joker is the best acted. And then I had a category for Thanos, and I just cannot think about it. I'd say he's tied for best threat with Kingpin. most depth, he's also, like, pretty much tied with Kingpin. I forgot the category, but he's still peak. That's my trinity of comic book villains. Peak television villain, peak DC villain, peak Marvel villain. Okay, we're good. Anyways, yeah, he's our Joker's incredible, but also Two-Face is such a good villain. Harvey Dent got some fire quotes. Mainly the, shoot, I'm forgetting about, you either die here or live long enough to see yourself to become a villain. Those are the two quotes. I also do kind of like Two-Face's design. It's pretty good. Oh my god, I love Two-Face. Two-Face is such a great villain. And Harvey Dent, how, like, they bring up his influence in the city, and the ending of how Batman makes himself the villain to make Harvey Dent the good guy, to promote this idea of peace, justice, security to the Empire. Sorry. Star Wars in me came out, and that was the worst thing I've ever said in my life. I'm sorry. Anyways, that was all great. I love the ending of this movie. I really like some of these psychological aspects of, like, especially in the boat scene of, would you kill all these criminals, and how Joker sort of throughout the movie just tests Gotham and its own morality and psychology. I like how it sort of makes, you know how, like, in, like, I don't know, like, Marvel, or just more specifically, like, Daredevil and Jessica Jones, I'd say, they try to make New York, like, alive, make it feel like a entity, if anything, like a person, you know? I think this movie did a pretty good job of doing that with Gotham, of making Gotham its own, like, group. If these are Gothamian, what are people of Gotham? Gothams? That's actually a good question. It's probably Gotham's. Anyways, I thought that was great. Again, Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm sorry, he does kind of carry the movie. Well, there are some great lines, especially like Michael Caine's, like, some men just won't watch the world burn. Like that. Come on. Heath Ledger's Joker is pretty one of, like, the greatest villains, period. I mean, like, people hold him in, like, a top 5 movie villains ever. He's like Darth Vader. And then, yeah, that's really it. I mean, I put Thanos there. But Darth Vader is kind of like his only like, to the public eye, Darth Vader is kind of like his only adversary. Anyways, I also really like this idea of inspiration in the movie of, like, what is good inspiration, essentially. Like, Batman, as we see in the beginning of the film, he inspired these gun-shrouding vigilantes. And they're like, hey, we just wanted to be like you. You inspired us. And, you know, and that's not good inspiration. But Harvey Dent supplied good inspiration, which is why at the end of the film, Batman risked his innocence to preserve Harvey Dent's. Really great. I really loved how that worked. Sadly, Rises didn't do it justice all that much. Justice. It didn't do that well, but yeah. Overall, it's a near masterpiece. I'm so close to calling it a masterpiece. It's very close. I don't think it's quite. And I do think it is close with the second, although I do have a pretty definitive number 1. Anyways, let's get on to our second place. At my second place, I have Inception. Oh my god, it's such a good movie. Oh, I love Inception so much. I did have Inception at third, but here's the thing. The more I was like, okay, Inception is just a tad bit worse than Dark Knight. But here's the thing. The more I've thought about Inception, the more I liked it. Like, the more I've thought about Inception, the more I've like, hey, this is an incredible movie. While The Dark Knight, I've kind of just stayed stagnant line on its quality. While Inception, I'm like, going slightly up. You know, it's like, you see it has that little curve, it's going up. You know, Inception, the more I think about it, the better it gets. And if I rewatch it more and more, the more I like it. So, yeah, of course the ending. That opening, like, 10-minute scene with the dream inside a dream with Sito. Chef's kiss. It was so well done. It's such a good intro to a movie. It's iconic. And then the ending, of course, is he in the dream world? Is he in the fake world? I'm going to probably make a video on that, so I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I really liked it. It was really great. Although, I really like all the casts. I didn't really have a problem with any of them. Like Arthur, Cobb, they're both great characters. Mal is a great character. Michael Caine's character is great. Okay, I think the way to pronounce her name was like Ariadne. It wasn't Adrian. It's something like that. I'm sorry. It's like a weird. Yeah, I think it. Whatever. She was a great character. Sito is a great character. Robert Pattinson. Gillian Murphy's character was great. I really love the whole plot. This is definitely the best idea for a Nolan film. I think I said that about Tenet, and I was lying. No, I said Tenet was the most Nolan-y film. This is the best idea. I love this concept of, like, these dream heists, said for a mission. They're basically dream heists, if that's the easiest way I can describe extractors. They got hired by this dude, the CEO, to go into another dude's mind, to give him an original thought, to go so deep in his mind that he has a thought that they think is original. And I really love the explanation that they give of, if I tell you, don't think of elephants, you're going to think of elephants. But that's not your own original thought, because you know that I told you don't think of elephants, which made you think of elephants. Well, here, they are going so deep into his mind that he will only know that the thought they're trying to put in, which is, I don't want to be like my father. Yeah. You know, and that ending was perfect. That ending is masterpiece. That's the masterpiece. This film, and I think, is it quantifiable for me to call it a masterpiece? Probably. I probably should. It's such a perfect movie. It's so good. It is so good. It's so good. I love it. So it's in my like top 10 films of all time. It's incredible. Oh my god, the hallway fight scene. Like, this movie never lets up. As soon as you get inside of the first dream, it never lets up. Like, there's just like 30 minutes of the film where they essentially just walk you through the film. But it's done in such an entertaining way and done so well that I don't mind it. It's still a really great first act, and I really like what they set up. And I feel like, I don't know, Tenet tried to course correct by just not explaining it at all. Like, actually, yeah, Tenet, I would call, is a very poor man's Inception. Like, and they missed a very crucial part of Inception, is that there's a huge part in the film that pretty much catwalk that just walks you through the idea of this art of an architect making these dream worlds, going into a dream and making an inception. Which also, I really like the reveal of that Cobb made the inception for Mal, that this world is fake, but it ran so deep that she killed herself in real life. And honestly, the ending, chef's kiss. But yeah, what Tenet missed was that, oh wait, this movie walks you through and explained it. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna help you know. We're just gonna hope you know what's happening. Sorry, that's my critique of Tenet. And it's just so well. Interstellar is such a perfect movie. It's a picture perfect movie. I know people have it at their number one, but my number one, yeah, I mean, you know it now. It's very obvious. That's Interstellar. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say it's not. It's Interstellar. It's such a. This is a masterpiece. This one's a masterpiece. I love Interstellar so much. So much. It's so good. Oh my god. I mean, I was like, okay, maybe. I was like, I watched The Dark Knight. And I was like, because Interstellar is actually the only movie that I was like, I don't need to rewatch it or watch it. I don't need to do that. Again, I didn't need to watch it again. I have seen Interstellar. I was like, I didn't need to watch it again. I can't do. It's such a good movie. I was like, maybe The Dark Knight after I rewatch it. Maybe Inception. But then I go back to the scene. I go back to the docking scene. I go back to the ending scene where, if he's in the, Tesseract or Fifth Dimension Zone, or when he's talking to old woman Murph. But honestly, the scene that I'm just I think it's the best scene in a Nolan film ever is the scene where Coop recollects on the tapes over 28 years seeing his family, especially the Timothy Chalamet, his son, who he clearly does not love. Why does he care about the daughter so much more than he does the son? He clearly hates him. But I really love the moment where he has a son named Jesse. And then next tape, his grandpa died. And he says that Jesse's dead too. It's so good. Oh my god. And then the very ending of those tapes with Murphy finally making one, saying, hey, when you left us, you said that, or when you left me, you said that maybe one day I'll come back when I am the same age as you. Well, today is the day that I have become the same age as you. And then we see the clip that it's actually her in the current day. It's so incredible. Oh my god. How it plays with time, with the black hole, the tsunami scene, and the idea of, oh my god, they just wasted 28 years. Earth is done for. It's so good. The first act is perfect setup. Second act is just immaculate. Then the third act is a masterpiece of an ending. This is honestly quite possibly my favorite film of all time. It's so good. And I didn't even watch it properly. I was watching it with someone, and we had bad time management issues. So I had to watch it in like 2 parts. I know, it was very sad, but I do need to watch it all together. But generally, it's the fact that didn't even hurt my viewing experience is incredible. This movie is something else. I don't think... Like, I call Project Hail Mary, a movie that I love, an incredible movie, a poor man's Interstellar. That just shows how much I truly love the movie, because honestly it is. It really is. But surely, in Interstellar, it's also gorgeous. That's one thing. Not only is the cinematography great, oh my god, the visual effect. I mean, you could convince me that's a real black hole. That, like, most scientists were like, before we actually ever saw a black hole, most scientists were like, yeah, that's most likely what a black hole looks like. And the ending with the wormhole in there. It's so good. I'm sorry. Interstellar may forever be Nolan's best film. I'm open to a Nolan film being better. But Interstellar is something else. I cannot get over that. And it's one of my favorite... No, actually, I said it already. It's my favorite film of all time. I'm sorry. It's so good. I do need to watch more movies, but it's such a masterpiece. Anyways, if you are free to, you're free to, but you are not free to. I'm not giving you permission. No, you're allowed to. Why am I saying you're allowed? I'm sorry, my guys. But yeah, put your list of your favorite Nolan films in the comments, and say if you agree with some of my positions, if you're mad at me, then give your justification why. Say why. Don't just say, bro, you did not cook. I know some people say that. That makes me mad. Just explain. But anyways, yeah. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and bye.